Hi guys, it's me, Vix Podfic. I'm back. I'm gonna give you guys another video to listen to whatever. Anyways, I know that AO3 has been was down for like 20 hours. I think that's what they said. So, I know it's been a hard couple of hours, but I'm here to save you all. I'm gonna read for you The Haunting of Bakugou Katsuki by Max the Book Dragon. It's more Bakugo-centric. It is a part of the Guardian Angel series, but it is more Bakugo-centric. So Izuku is gonna have more of a cameo. He's gonna be there for like a second, but okay, let's just get started. I don't think this one has any trigger warnings, so yes. So let's start with the summary. Izuku is dead. And it's not Katsuki's fault. It's not. So why does it feel like it is? And that's the summary. 10 months until the entrance exam. Katsuki doesn't know anymore. He doesn't... He went to the wake. Of course he went to the wake. He's... whatever. The nerd. He's dead. And they used to be friends. Or whatever, but... the wake was just... it sucked. And Katsuki was sort of out of it the whole time. He's sort of out of it all the time, actually. He still has a bruise. A hand-shaped bruise around his bicep from where the nerd had pulled him out of the slime. He finds himself squeezing it sometimes. It helps, sort of. The ache helps. Or maybe not. He doesn't think it's helping much right now, actually. Katsuki blinks back into the real world, sometime around 10 p.m. It's a slow process. He keeps thinking he's fine, only to glance at the clock and realize several minutes have passed in between blinks, until finally, the last puzzle piece of his brain slots back into his body. He lets his hand slip away from the bruise on his arm and scowls. Now that the world is all stupid and real again, he can hear his parents. They're not bothering to be all that quiet. He's usually asleep by now. That's the sound of his mom crying. Katsuki grits his teeth but doesn't make any noise as he finally gets up to change out of the nice clothes he wore for the wake. He can't block out his dad's voice. I know, Mitsuki. I miss him too. 9.5 months until the entrance exam. It's easy enough to forget that anything's changed. As long as Katsuki's not paying attention, as long as he goes to bed on time like usual, and yells a lot like usual, then everything is the same. Everything is fine. But he can't ignore the empty desk. He walks into class like usual. Everything's fine. And then he sees the desk, and he can't move. How dare that stupid nerd just... Hey, Bakugou, what's the holdup? Katsuki shakes himself out of whatever that was and glares at the extra that called him out, before trudging to his desk, in front of the empty one. Good morning, drones the teacher. Katsuki barely notices, still picking up on whatever whispers around him. The extras all found out about it about a week ago. It's still all they talk about. It makes his teeth grind. I heard it was a suicide. Not surprised, loser. Do you think he jumped, just like Bakugou told him to? His skin feels cold. No. They said it was a villain attack. He didn't... The nerd's not dead because of... Bakugou, calls the teacher. Katsuki does not jolt in his chair, even a little bit. Present. He grunts. He slouches back in his chair and tries not to notice the cold emptiness behind him or the tingling sensation up his spine when the teacher doesn't call Midoriya next. He hates that his ears tune back into the whispering of his classmates. No, I swear they said it was a villain attack. As if. The pathetic nerd probably tripped over his own feet or something stupid like that. The tingle on Katsuki's spine spreads, and that starts to burn. He hated Deku. A few weeks ago, he would have joined in with the taunting and the mocking, but his bicep aches where a hand-shaped bruise has finally faded. And they were talking about a dead kid. His eye snapped to the teacher. The idiots around him aren't being all that quiet, but the teacher says nothing. They never said anything. All the burning, and the burning is all Katsuki can feel now. Fire in his lungs and on his skin. He wants to burn something. Well, however he kicked the bucket, good riddance. Katsuki's on his feet before he registers what he's doing. There are explosions and he's yelling, but he's not sure what he's saying. There's screaming, and the teacher finally actually tries to say something, but it's too late. A hand grabs his shoulder, and Katsuki knows it's the teacher, and he knows that this is stupid, and it'll leave a mark on his perfect record. He turns and grabs the man's wrist anyway, meets his eyes, and basks in a primal sort of glee when he lets off explosion after explosion. 8 months until the entrance exam. Katsuki scowls at the school counselor and revels in the way the pudgy man wilts. That's right. Despair. It's been a long time since the first incident. It hasn't been very long since he set the teacher's podium on fire this afternoon. Katsuki won't lie. He's pretty proud of that one. He managed to aim and launch an explosion all the way up the front of the classroom without even leaving his seat. Bakugou. The man sighs, resignation flowing out of him in place of tears. Katsuki hopes the people who run this disgusting school cry themselves to sleep every night. I thought you wanted to go to UA. Katsuki bristles. Of course I do. Then why? The man trails off, leaning forward in his chair and burying his face in his hands. The next part comes out muffled. Why do you keep doing this? What? Katsuki sneers. Like any of you sad losers are gonna stop me! And that's the thing. They haven't stopped him. He nearly blew a teacher's whole hand off, and they didn't even give him detention. It's been weeks of incident after incident, and they haven't even bothered to call his parents about it. The man sighs and sits up, regarding Katsuki with a frustrated frown. You show promise, Bakugou. A lot of promise. And so, the very exhausted-looking man pinches the bridge of his nose and sighs. We're letting you off with another warning. Katsuki's muscles tighten. Heat rises to his face and he lurches to his feet to storm out the door. He doesn't even bother with the doorknob, opting instead to kick the door open. It makes a very satisfying crunch when the door jamb splinters. 7 months until the entrance exam. Grief counseling. Another whole month of crap, and they finally decided to do something about it, and it's grief counseling? Katsuki cracks his knuckles as he stares down the front of the building. He's gonna get himself banned from the premises if it kills him. 6 months until the entrance exam. Katsuki kinda hates that the stupid therapy is actually helping. He doesn't quite know how to articulate what is happening, but it is. Unfortunately for Katsuki, helping doesn't mean fixing. He stares intently down at his soba, determinedly refusing to make eye contact with anyone. Auntie Inko sits to his left, and it's taking everything in him not to squirm. It's been awkward. His parents have made it a point to have dinner with Auntie every other week, and he knows his mom visits all the time. She doesn't break down as often anymore, but she'll always be a Midoriya. There's a lot of crying every time. So, Katsuki, Inko's gentle voice grabs his attention. How is school going? He swallows but doesn't look up. He resists the urge to shove a bite of food in his mouth. It's fine, he grunts. It's all he can get out. She hums thoughtfully. Are you still planning on applying to UA? Katsuki does not scowl, and his hand doesn't tighten around his chopsticks. Yeah, he grits out. It's not a lie. It's not. The rest of dinner passes by, and Auntie Inko doesn't talk to him again. It's a relief, honestly. He's not sure he could say anything else if he tried in this house. She stops him before he can follow his parents out the door. A soft hand on his shoulder has him freezing in place, and he's left to watch, baffled as his parents walk out of the apartment building without him. Katsuki, she says. She's still so soft and gentle, but he can't bring himself to look up. It's okay, you know. You don't have to go to UA if you don't want to, but if you do, then Izuku always believed you would make a wonderful hero. He almost misses her sniffling over the ringing in his ears. He doesn't dare look up now, but his eyes won't listen to him and stay trained on his shoes. And she continues, I think he was right. For the first time since the day her son died, Katsuki makes eye contact with Inko Midoriya. She's not actively crying, but it's a near thing. Tears swim in her big green eyes, and all Katsuki can see is... He gives a shaky nod and walks out the door. All the way home, it's not her words that ring in his head, but it's his. Take a swan dive off the roof. 5 months until the entrance exam. Slitted pupils bore into Katsuki, and he matches the gaze evenly. His eyes burn, but he's gonna win this time. He blinks, and then he curses under his breath. One of these days, he'll win the staring contest, and then he can go home early instead of dealing with this crap. Unfortunately, that day is not today. Fine, he grumbles, leaning back on the shrink's stupidly comfy couch. You win. Mitsubishi hums noncommittally. Sure, she muses. So, what's on your mind? If Katsuki could blow her and the rest of her office up, he would. Unfortunately, he's already tried that on day 1, and he's never repeating day 1. So, instead of lying or whining like the baby he was on day 1, he grumbles, a little under his breath, and offers up the truth. I think I'm a villain. She barely bothers to cock an eyebrow at him. Oh, and why is that? He scowls. His mouth tastes bitter. Isn't it obvious? And there, she's smirking, like a jerk. Pretend it isn't and explain why, Bakugou. He huffs. His hands shake a little as he clenches them. But it's fine. He's fine. Izuku always thought you'd make a wonderful hero. He squeezes his eyes shut, ignoring how they burn. I don't deserve to be a hero. I'm just glad you're okay. Heroes don't. They don't beat up their best friends. Take a swan dive off the roof. Heroes... His voice is all scratchy now, and he hates it, but whatever. He has to say this. Heroes don't tell them to jump off of a roof. The silence that follows his confession is deafening. He can't open his eyes, for one thing. One wrong move and those stupid tears will fall, and that's not happening for another. He might just be a little bit afraid. Miss Hibishi finally breaks the silence. So, you were his bully. He nods. And you suicide baited him. He swallows down a lump. It was the last thing I said to him before he... There's another silence. This one shorter, but still uncomfortable. Finally, she blows out a heavy breath. Well, that sucks. He finally blinks his eyes open to stare at her, incredulous. She looks lost in thought, nodding to herself as if puzzle pieces are finally coming together. That does explain why you have such a raging guilt complex. Katsuki's eyebrows shoot up. He's not sure what he should... He's not whether he should be offended or not. But I couldn't help but notice. She meets his eyes, and suddenly he can't move. Screw her stupid quirk. You still called him your best friend. She blinks, and Katsuki still can't move. But now it has nothing to do with her quirk. He feels flayed open. He doesn't respond. She muses. What else did you do with Izuku? Katsuki frowns. I already told you, No, not the bullying. We've already established that you did bad stuff. And yeah, we will be talking about that more. But for now, what else? Like, what besides bullying? There's gotta be at least one good memory if you can still call him your best friend. Katsuki thinks. He thinks back through years of yelling and screaming and explosions, years of Deku and feeling small next to Izuku's big heart. He goes back and lands on a river, a little hand reaching out to help him while the rest of his so-called friends laugh. He draws in a shaky breath. We used to play heroes. He talks for a long time. He tells Mitsubishi about camping in Izuku's living room, and about slipping hot sauce into each other's food. He tells her about Izuku's notebooks, and how they were so cool until someone else said they were creepy, and Katsuki jumped on the bandwagon. He talks about All Might trading cards and competing for the highest scores in school, and then he keeps talking, because there's more to tell, and it feels like breathing fresh air for the first time in months. Finally, their time is up. Mitsubishi smiles at him. What I think, Bakugou, is that you did some pretty bad things, and it is important to be accountable. But you're not a villain. Your mistakes don't define you as a person. And I think it's obvious at this point that you're not giving yourself enough credit for all the normal, non-villainous things you've done. Basically, it boils down to this. You're not a villain or a hero. You're just a person, and people can change. 4 months until the entrance exam. He was not prepared for his new psychotic classmate to be at Auntie Anko's tonight. She took Izuku's seat, and now what? She's talking to his mom, too? He stares her down while his parents start to chatter with Auntie. She grins back, and yeah, those are fangs. Figures she's a freaking vampire or whatever.
So,
She chirps.
can I call you Katsuki?
His scowl deepens. No! He makes sure to shoulder check her when he pushes further in the house. Her hand shoots out and latches his wrist before he can get very far. He glances at her and freezes. Her grin is wide. Wider than it was a second ago, but it doesn't reach her eyes. She yanks him close, and he's too caught off guard to resist or pull back before she hisses in his ear.
I know what you did to him. Kachan.
Ice floods his lungs at that all-too-familiar nickname. He can't breathe. He can't even think. His head is just filled with static, and he stares at that too wide, too sharp grin. Then she lets go, and the static goes away. He sucks in a shaky breath, still rooted to the spot just inside the living room of the little apartment. He finally processes what she just said. She knows what he did. What does that even mean? What did he... Oh. Take a swan dive off the roof, his brain helpfully supplies. He remembers the smell of a smoking school uniform. He can practically see Izuku flinching away from his crackling palms. Katsuki, what did I say about quirk usage in my home? He jolts at the sound of Auntie's voice. Right, he glances down at sparking hands and wipes the sweat off on his pants instead. Sorry, he grits out. He doesn't look in her direction. That's all right, she replies. And you know what? Screw this whole family and their soft, forgiving voices. He grits his teeth and shuffles over to the couch, pointedly ignoring Vampire Freak on the other end. His parents follow him in, not even hesitating to sit in between them. Good, they can be human shields. So, his mom says, and she's way too enthusiastic. Introductions? Inko settles on an armchair. Katsuki's sure she's smiling, but he keeps his eyes trained on the floor. Mitsuki, Masaru, Katsuki, this is Himiko Toga. Himiko, these are the Bakugous. Himiko came to me asking for help just a few days ago. She said a friend helped her find her way here. We're figuring everything out with the foster system and the police and everything, but they've agreed that she can stay with me in the meantime. I just need some help with his room. Silence fills the room like 1,000 bees. A lead weight settles in Katsuki's gut, even as his skin crawls. A replacement. Some freaky vampire's taking Izuku's place here, too. Not just his desk, his home, his mom, his room. It's not right. How could Auntie just... Katsuki can't be here. He thinks he's gonna throw up. He gets to his feet and actually looks at Auntie for a long moment. She stares back at him with wide, knowing eyes. And screw that Midoriya trait, too. It's not even right that they just always know everything. He turns away and storms off down the hallway to the bathroom. He doesn't throw up, but it's close. He doesn't scream either, which is an accomplishment. He hates this. He hates this apartment, and he hates those big green eyes, and he hates that stupid vampire freak. He hates it all. He hates how no matter how hard he tries, he can always hear the silence where there used to be a constant, annoying stream of mutters. He hates the cold emptiness where there used to be a constant presence. He hates that sometimes he still turns to smirk at the nerd, only to find he's not there. His throat hurts, so he takes a drink of water from the faucet before leaving the bathroom. It helps a little. Katsuki? He freezes. It's an ambush. Auntie really just ambushed him outside the bathroom. Katsuki, She doesn't continue. Like, she doesn't know what to say about the fact that she's just replacing Izuku with some freaky vampire chick. It's like, you don't even care. The words came out a lot less angry and accusatory than he wants them to. More like a question or a plea. Oh, sweetie, she sighs. She steps forward but doesn't pull him into a hug like he's sure she wants to. No, that's not it. Himiko is... No one can ever be just like my Izuku. No one could ever take his place if they tried. Katsuki swallows. He nods, because that's all he can do for now. He's not sure he believes her. But who is he to judge? Between the two of them, only one really cared when it mattered. You can go home if you want to, Katsuki. I wanted to give you a chance to go through all the hero stuff, but you don't have to. He looks up again. He wasn't gonna make any more eye contact with her ever again. But here he is. And Auntie Inko is and always will be the picture of gentle kindness in his mind. She's smiling, as expected. It's a shaky, sad smile, but it's there. He takes a deep breath and swallows one more time. I'll stay. It turns out to be a sort of mistake. Sort of. because he knows it means a lot to Auntie to have this kind of help cleaning out the bedroom, and a mistake because the bedroom itself hasn't really changed in the years since he was welcome here. But it's fine. Katsuki's fine. He swallows thickly as he eyes the little plastic case in the corner of the desk. Inside of it is a familiar All Might trading card, one that Katsuki has matched to at home. He remembers vividly the day they both got them. He remembers a lot of things. Auntie asks if he wants any of the All Might merchandise. Katsuki only takes the trading card, but he agrees to help her sell the rest online. Slowly, the room clears out. It feels like pulling off a band-aid as slowly as possible. It hurts more the longer it goes, and when it's done, it leaves itching, irritated skin underneath. But just when Katsuki thinks they've gotten past the worst of it, they reach the notebooks. There are dozens. 12 hero analysis, 15 for school notes, another 7 for specific heroes, and one that's just labeled Kachan. While the adults debate about what to do with it all, the vampire freak plucks that one off the bookshelf and starts flipping through it. Katsuki wants to be mad. He wants to blow up in her face or snatch it out of her hands, but he can barely breathe, so he just stands there and watches her face go carefully neutral. She finally looks up at him, her gaze searching and intense. I guess we'll just put them in storage then, Auntie says somewhere behind him. Vampire freak's eyes narrow, and then she nods.
This one is for him,
she calls. The adults stop talking, and Katsuki still can't move.
Kachan means Katsuki, right? It only seems fair to give it to him.
A gentle hand on his shoulder snaps him out of it, and he glances over at Auntie Inko. She's smiling that stupid Midoriya smile at him. The one that's all kind and knowing, and he doesn't. I'm okay with that, she says. Katsuki breathes around them, burning in his lungs, and nods, accepting the book. 1 month until the entrance exam. The first pages of the notebook are familiar. They're covered with bad crayon drawings that are probably supposed to be people, and nearly legible scribbles that are supposed to be hero names. Mighty Might, King Explosion Murder, Explosion Might. The names that 4-year-olds came up with when Katsuki got his quirk. He's not even sure why today, of all days, is the one he finally decided to crack the thing open. But he's glad he waited until he was alone. His eyes are already burning. Things have been disgustingly normal. Vampire Freak sits behind him in class now, and Katsuki doesn't cause ridiculous amounts of property damage anymore. And he always feels just a little hollow inside. And that's just the way it is. So maybe all the normalcy is what's finally prompted him to actually read the notebook that's just been sitting on his nightstand for months. He takes a breath and flips a few pages until the crayon disappears, replaced with still sloppy pencil sketches of hero costumes and much more legible words scribbled in the margins. Hearing protection for loud explosions. Grenades? So cool. He's about to flip the page again when the last note catches his eye, squished into the bottom corner of the page. Learn JSL, just in case. He pauses, squeezes his eyes shut, and swears quietly before flipping to a new page. The notebook goes on like that. Sketches and diagrams. Apparently the nerd took the time to break down the chemical components of his nitroglycerin sweat just for fun. Katsuki skims over dozens of little notes written over a too short lifetime of messed up friendship. Kachan sorta blinded me today with an explosion. Super cool. Tell him later, maybe? Rubs wrists a lot. Braces incorporated into hero costume. Weakness to water quirks. Store sweat in waterproof containers. See grenade idea? Explosions hurt less. Smaller and winter. I wonder if he could fly. Izuku's notes are nothing if not thorough, and Katsuki can't help but hate himself more with every page. Still, he keeps reading. Towards the back of the notebook, there's a drawing of two heroes standing side by side. It's nothing like the messy disasters on any of the other pages. It clearly took time and care. Even without the grenade-themed hero costume, the one on the left would be recognizable as Katsuki himself. He stands tall, smirking and confident. He's wearing a black, long-sleeve costume with red accents, the wrist braces, the belt of grenades, the lightweight boots, and the headgear. And scribbled under his feet are the words, "Number 1 Hero." Katsuki takes a too short, too shaky breath and blinks a few times before examining the other sketch. It's Izuku. He's wearing some sort of ridiculous green bunny outfit, and Katsuki has to laugh a little at it, because somehow the same person who came up with all this and drew an incredibly detailed, fashionably almost acceptable hero costume for Katsuki put himself in a ridiculous green rabbit onesie. The chuckles are wet from the beginning, but they devolve into quiet sobs pretty fast. "Stupid nerd," he whispers. "I'm so freaking sorry." Under Izuku's sketch, all he wrote is, "We promised." 2 hours until the entrance exam. Katsuki has a lot of normal days, and a few good ones, and even fewer bad ones. But there are bad days, and this is definitely one of them. He brought it on himself, really. The shrink would probably call it self-sabotage, and she would probably be right, but he finally told Auntie Inko about everything last night after dinner. Now Katsuki's alarm to get up and get ready for the UA entrance exam is ringing on his nightstand, and Katsuki doesn't even have the energy to turn it off. She forgave him. Apparently she already knew about most of what he did to Izuku, and she forgave him months ago. And she said that if Izuku was here, he would forgive Katsuki too. His hand drifts up to clench around his bicep, matching the handprint that faded almost a year ago. He can't. Katsuki doesn't deserve to be a hero. Izuku could scream. Actually, no, forget that. Izuku's going to scream, because it's not like anyone can hear him anyway. Kachan's been lying in bed, staring at the ceiling like a dead fish for half an hour. And Izuku knows that last night was emotionally draining, but ugh! There's an entrance exam today, and he's gonna be late! Izuku starts pacing, letting his wings fly all over the place along with his arms while he rants. You come into my house, and you apologize for I don't know, like the millionth time, and you make me cry again about an accident that actually had nothing to do with you. And then you just, what, die in bed? Really, Kachan? You're supposed to be a hero. He glances over and, yep, dead fish, Izuku screams. Ah! Why are you like this? Forget about deserving or whatever, you're alive! We made a promise! And I know you remember it! And between the two of us, there's only one around to keep it, so get up! Izuku's wings flap through the still ringing, deeply obnoxious alarm clock, and it goes clattering to the ground. Katsuki jolts, and then finally sits up, and then he resumes staring. But now he's looking at the alarm clock instead of the ceiling. What an improvement. Definitely hero material right there. Would you just... Izuku cuts himself off with a huff and takes a deep, totally useless breath. Katsuki Bakugou, if you don't make it into UA because of some stupid, weird dead fish stare, I swear I will go full poltergeist on you. I don't know how, but I will make it happen, so help me. Slowly, robotically, Kachan reaches down to turn off the alarm. He's still not really moving, definitely not fast enough to make up for lost time, and get to UA on time. Izuku marches over to the 2 All Might trading cards displayed on Kachan's bookshelf and hovers a hand over them. He glances back at Kachan, still moving in slow motion, and angrily swipes a hand through them. They also go clattering to the floor, and Izuku can't help but smirk by the way Kachan jumps. At long last, a familiar scowl takes over Kachan's face as he gets up and storms over to the 2 plastic display cases on the floor. He hesitates before picking them up and putting them back on their place. He doesn't hear Izuku threaten to do it again if he doesn't get moving, but that's fine. He glances at the clock, swears, and rushes to get ready for the day. Izuku gives a satisfied nod and leaves him to it. He has some other friends to check up on before the exam, but if Kachan somehow misses it, Izuku isn't one to make empty threats. One of them has to be a hero. It can't be Izuku, obviously, but from what he's seen of him over the last couple of months or so, Kachan's going to be a good one. Okay, guys, that's it. That's the end of this fic. I hope you all enjoyed. I really like this one. Even though Izuku is not really in this one, it's okay because, yeah. Yeah. And, this was part 3 of Guardian Angel, the series. Yes, I know. So amazing. And make sure you guys go check out the description. It's gonna have the link to this fic. It's not gonna be clickable, of course. I'll just put it in the comments like I usually do until I get verified or whatever. And then I hope you guys all enjoyed. Bye, I guess.